So I just want to video myself walking. I usually don't just record myself talking while I'm walking because I have to watch where I'm going and my dog's with me, but I'm just really in an urge to speak. So I'm going to speak. It's a Sunday market right now here in Seattle. So every Sunday here near Kyle Anderson, they put on a cute little market and it's really fun local stuff. And I've been here a couple of times. But anyways, I'm not really here to talk about the Sunday market, to be honest. I'm here to talk about some like deeper and more revealing things than the Sunday market. In 2024, my life changed forever. Forever. Life is always changing forever, but at least in this time it felt more extreme and more real, and like there was a bigger shift. And I was falling out of my religion of Catholicism very quickly because of like a complete disillusionment of like the values and my own identity. Just a lot of different things that were arising at the time that still really don't land or resonate here anymore, but at the time it was supercharged. It felt super real, right? And so I just remember how horrible 2024 was and how gut-wrenchingly painful it was to lose a belief system in something larger than me. For the longest time, I always had something like that. But 2024 was the big shift because I had been dealing with not having a religion for quite some time now and trying to find myself and wholeness and other things like sex, which is fine, and drugs, which is fine, and experiences, which is also fine. And I'm a very dialectical human. My brain really loves to think with words, but of course words are limited. Nonetheless, I'm a fan of words. And so I just remember coming across this YouTuber named Suzanne Chang, and I was around the age of 20 or 21. And I was just kind of like, for the first time, starting to like learn about, sort of like this like new age spirituality. Like I was on this like interesting kick of like reading Eckhart Tolle and watching like some other spiritualists who were all about like manifesting energy and controlling things and all those types of interesting, like very magnetic phrasings that were for me and my mind and the body at my time was very attractive. So when I came across Suzanne's page, it kind of just like really destroyed every sense of I guess like idea I had, and not in like a negative way. I think destroying is like a really like, there's the semantics of destroying have like a lot of negative connotations, but I think that it was the perfect destruction that I needed because it was able to move and take away all the structures of the brain. It was genuinely top-down healing. It was top-down healing. And for my whole life, I only knew bottom-up healing, or the top-down healing that I had access to was just like not logical or not landing here. But someone was finally speaking in a language that made a lot of sense because it was the language of consciousness, the language of awareness, the language of the essence of being, the language of sensation, the language of charge, the language of less of an I or a fixed I, more of a receiving of what's here in the moment. And to me, that feels like very unknowable because no matter what, I'm always finding more things out in this space through this lens, through this perspective. And I don't think Suzanne is the only human who has this perspective, but I know that she was like the mediator for me. She mediated that frequency for me. And so I'm just like remembering all the pain that moved through me after I found Suzanne's message, because there was no longer anything to hold back, anything to hide. Transparency became the only thing that could be here, and it became scarier and scarier because I was so used to hiding from myself and hiding from my memories or stories or shame or deep trauma. But then like the older or the more clear I got, I just like started realizing how like that is like genuinely how the body operates from those experiences, believing and absorbing and thinking that, oh, this will happen again. This is happening now. This defines my life, my story, this present moment somehow. When literally in this present moment, I'm perfectly fine. I'm walking my dog in a beautiful city on a nice morning. And so like, I just did not realize how much suffering I genuinely was generating just by giving energy and attention to things that just didn't need energy and attention. Not that the body can't not that the body can't have like some sorts of like attention somewhere else, or like you can't feel pain, or like that's never gonna happen, but like the attention was like always like so heavily focused on the meaning part of it. What does this mean? You know, or how does it separate me from my sense of self or sense of goodness or sense of innocence? How does it separate me from my sense of lightness, right? And that, giving that the attention, that question, that seeking, that prose, created so much more suffering. Like genuinely. Because everything had to mean something. A local recent memory had to mean something about me and my value or my future. Every little just thing became an evidence of something, right? But now, and this isn't even like backed up by just like conscious awareness, this is just backed up by science. There's too much data to constantly intake with the essentially context window of attention to ever make a true solid assumption on the present moment. And so it's just kind of like, I think, sad that most people don't know this, and it's understandable and it's painful, and I just want people to know that like there's another way to exist that doesn't have to be so dense, and it doesn't change stuff. It doesn't change that bad things can happen. It doesn't take away human messiness or complexity or density in the body, you know, but it does change your relationship to it. And in that shift in your own personal relationship to memory, meaning, emotions, suffering, the body, others, a sense of continuity, once you change your relationship with some of these things, and there's more things you change your relationship with, because this shifts your relationship with everything, there's beauty, just this, just the unknowable presence, and it just keeps unfolding and flowing and giving and taking, and it's genuinely so cold. It's genuinely so vibrant. It's genuinely so painful. All of it. And it's so soft too. So, yeah. I just really am feeling into this today, and I don't know why, and I just can't help but focus on this part of my body and this part of my awareness, and I totally get why people think this is not preferred, or this is not, my dog's trying to see what I'm doing. This is not the right way, because most people will pathologize it into something like disassociation or some type of like neurodivergent way of thinking, But to me, I think this is the healthiest way to think, because it actually allows embodied presence without conditions in such a visceral way, which does change your energy field, which does increase magnetism, which does increase just a sense of like self-respect and boundaries, and like receiving the body and what the body needs at this time, in this moment, whether that be just attention to the sensation, like suffering, you know, if I'm feeling pain, I'll just give the body attention. But also if it's space that I need, if my body needs space from a person, or if my body needs to just like step back, it's okay to do that now. And it's not definitive on like some grand narrative of me or them. And that's like finally so beautiful, because for so long it always just felt so dense, and this step back had to mean something so big about me or them, when really sometimes it's just too painful, and that's okay. There still can be love and needing to step back, you know? There still can be desire and a need to step back. There still can be longing and I need to step back. So I just want to receive myself however that arises here. But yeah, I don't know. That's my share for today. Thanks for listening. If you watched this the whole way through, I feel like I just really have a whole different relationship with language as well. Language is like little bells, you know? They just kind of like worship and ring, praising this big, open, absolute reality. And so I'm just ringing my bells right now. Little tinglings. All right, bye now.